Welcome. Today I want to share something very close to my heart. Why we all need to meditate. It's not another thing on the to-do list, but it is a way to reconnect, to find a sense of ease, clarity, and real happiness in the middle of our busy lives. In today's world, stress is constant. Many of us feel overwhelmed, restless, and disconnected from ourselves. Meditation offers a way back, a simple but profound practice that helps us feel more centered, content, and resilient. Meditation has fascinated me for as long as I can remember, especially the way that meditators from different religious backgrounds often describe similar experiences. Back then, I dreamed of studying comparative religion. I still would study it today, I think, because it is so interesting. But what finally got me started with meditation was my travels in Asia. I was deeply impressed how rituals and beliefs were woven seamlessly into daily lives. So I set my heart on Buddhist meditation. I loved the idea of mental stillness and the strictness of sitting still for a long time. But that was only as long as it was in my head, because once I actually started, I was in agony after a couple of minutes. Does it sound familiar to you? Luckily, persistence is one of my qualities, and I was determined to succeed. Around that time, a colleague and friend wanted to try yoga and asked me to join her, just for company and courage. Although this wasn't actually what I had in mind, but I gave in. You might guess where I ended up. Yes, exactly the yoga school that eventually set me onto my path. Apart from the physical side of yoga, which was a godsend for my aching back, they also offered group meditation. It was slightly different from my original idea of meditation, not silent sitting, but chanting and in a group environment. In my eyes, this was not the real deal. It took me quite a while to get over that. I never thought about the aim of meditation back then. Just that I needed to do it, and it seemed to make people happier and more content. I had no idea about the depths of the subconscious mind, about how behavioral patterns formed in childhood guide the way we live as adults, or about energy and how we can raise it through meditation. The philosophy of yoga helped me to understand these deeper aspects. And although you don't need to know the why to benefit from meditation, but I found it deeply helpful. Chitta Vritti Nirodha is the first sutra of the first chapter of the Yoga Sutras. Yoga is when the mental activities cease. And it is these mental activities, following the likes and the dislikes, unconscious behavior patterns that stir the mind. What we want this, dislike that, dwell on the past, wonder why life treats us unfairly while others seem to sail through. Meditation doesn't mean not thinking. Most people I know expect that once they sit down to meditate, their mind will immediately become still. When it doesn't, they get frustrated and disheartened. But it's like telling a child not to throw the ball against the window. What happens? Exactly, they just do it. Telling your mind not to think makes it think even more. Noticing this is the beginning of awareness. In yoga, awareness means cultivating a sensitivity to what's happening in the present moment. Noticing thoughts, emotions, and physical sensations without judgment. It's about becoming a kind and curious witness to your own experience rather than trying to control it. By observing the breath, the body, and the mind without rushing to label anything as good or bad, we begin to understand ourselves more deeply. And over time, we build a quieter, steadier mind. Meditation raises your awareness. It shows you what's happening inside your mind, consciously and subconsciously. It helps you see your patterns and learn to discern whether they are helpful or not. So how does meditation work? To build awareness, we draw the senses inward. Why do we usually close our eyes during meditation? Because our senses constantly connect us to the outside world. What we see or hear gives rise to the memories and judgments and pulls our attention away from the present moment. By closing the eyes, we quiet the visual input. To stop the mind from wandering, we give it a focus, observing the breath, chanting a mantra, listening to a guided meditation, or walking mindfully. The focus is essential because the mind moves so quickly that we don't even notice it has left the present moment. You hear something, and before even know, you're sitting there, and all of a sudden a memory pops up, and you follow it. You follow it into past holidays or all sorts of whatever you have experienced. And that's it. You even notice you have left your focus, and with that, your present moment. So why do we need to meditate today? And why should we go through this seemingly difficult process? Because the aim of yoga is stillness, is contentment, clear decision making, feeling at one with ourselves. In today's world, stress levels are tremendous. Many people can't sleep, digestion is disrupted, menstrual cycles are irregular, fertility is affected, and relationships suffer. Most people are not happy with themselves or content with their lives. Why? Because there's just too much input, especially unfiltered input through the senses. Constant screen usage brings endless stimulations through the eyes and the ears. Our sense of taste is bombarded with instant gratification foods. We're constantly chasing validation and distraction rather than tuning in to what we truly need. So we can't turn back time. But what we can do is learn to live wisely within the world we have created and find real happiness and resilience within us. Over 2000 years ago, Patanjali described this challenge in the Yoga Sutras. So it's not new. He outlined 8 limbs of yoga as a path towards lasting contentment. The 8 limbs, interestingly, they start with our behavior, with the yamas, the restraints, the inner restraints, like non-violence, ahimsa, truthfulness, satya, non-stealing, asteya, moderation, brahmacharya, and non-possessiveness, aparigraha, and the niyamas, purity, saucha, contentment, santosha, self-discipline, tapasya, self-study, svadhyaya, and surrender to a higher wisdom, ishvara pranidhana, the inner and the outer disciplines. Only then follow asana, the physical postures, pranayam, breathing regulations, pratyahara, withdrawal of the senses, dharana, concentration, and meditation, dhyana, and finally the 8 limbs, samadhi, absorption into oneness. It sounds a lot, and it is not done one after the other. It's not a linear path. All aspects can weave together into our lives at the same time. While Patanjali mapped out the full 8-fold path, the Bhagavad Gita offers an entire chapter on the transformative power of meditation itself, a path we can walk even amid busy modern lives. So the Bhagavad Gita devotes the entire chapter 6 to meditation. Krishna teaches Arjuna the importance of mastering the mind through steady practice. True success in yoga comes not from action, but from the inner discipline. A real yogi acts without selfish attachment, sees all beings with compassion and equality, and remains balanced through success and failure. Meditation is described as a steady focus, sitting quietly in a clean place, with body and mind still and attention turned toward the divine. Krishna reassures Arjuna that even small efforts towards meditation are never wasted. And among all yogis, the one who practices with faith and love is the highest. In its heart, the 6th chapter teaches that meditation is not about escaping the world, but about mastering oneself, living with compassion, balance, and inner freedom, no matter what life brings. So it is about befriending the mind. Many of us know that meditation can bring peace, but the Bhagavad Gita explained why it is essential. Krishna reminds us, let a person lift themselves by their own mind. Let them not lower themselves, for the mind alone is the friend of the self, and the mind alone is the enemy of the self. Meditation is the path of befriending the mind, training it to uplift rather than sabotage us. And yet the great Arjuna admitted how challenging it feels, bearing in mind that Arjuna was a super focused warrior prince. So he spoke to Krishna. Krishna, he said, you say that equanimity of the mind is yoga, but I do not see how this is possible, because the mind by nature is constantly changing. Not only is it restless, Krishna, the mind is often turbulent and powerfully obstinate. Trying to control the mind is like trying to control the wind. Have you ever felt too distracted to sit quietly? See, you're not alone. You are in the company of a usually super focused warrior prince, master archer. So that should give us all some consolation. Meditation asks for patience, for practice, for kindness towards ourselves. And in return, it offers deep inner focus, a freedom not external achievement can match, but it doesn't depend on external factors. You might think, I don't want to know all that about myself. I just want to feel better. And that's absolutely okay. Even Krishna acknowledges this in the 44th verse, saying that even a person who simply wants to learn and try yoga gains clarity and growth, far beyond those who just go through the motions. So finding your way in meditation brings clarity. It brings natural contentment without needing to spend money or chase external validation. The unhappiness and stresses of modern life often come from being pulled in every direction, disconnected from our own needs, desires, and inner knowing. My teacher, Sri Balaji Tambe, used to say, be your own best friend. Enjoy your own company. So circling back to the beginning, I started my true meditation practice by listening to the chants of my teacher, learning to pronounce them, learning to chant the Om. And over time I realized it wasn't a sing-along, what I thought of it at the beginning. It worked on my subconscious mind. It helped dissolve unhelpful patterns, taught me to accept myself, flaws and all, reminded me that I already have everything I need. It raised my energy, answered my questions, made me more patient, and smoothed the ups and downs of life. Meditation helps us become a better human being. So let's hear again a few verses from the Bhagavad Gita's teaching on meditation. I'm reading from the Living Gita by Sri Swami Satchitananda. He also commented the Yoga Sutras. You experience the true yogic state when you let go of attachment to sense objects and desire for the fruits of your efforts. You can rise up through the efforts of your own mind, or at the same manner draw yourself down, for you are your own friend or enemy. This reminds us that our own mind can either lift us up or pull us down. And that is very powerful when we realize that it is up to us to lift us or to pull us down. Meditation is how we gently train it. And I do like these objections that Arjun had. So listen to them again. Then Arjun spoke, Krishna, you say that equanimity of the mind is yoga, but I do not see how this is possible, because the mind by nature is constantly changing. Not only is it restless, Krishna, the mind is often turbulent and powerfully obstinate. Trying to control it is like trying to control the wind. For me, this is, how shall I say, it makes me feel better that I know even great warriors, people like Arjun, who have a super focus, who are master archers, that they struggle with restlessness. And it is normal. And still, the Gita encourages us to keep going. This is what Krishna answered him. Then Sri Krishna said, O mighty Arjun, undoubtedly the mind is restless and very difficult to control. But with steady practice, abhyas, and non-attachment, vairagya, it can be controlled. So he said, it's difficult, but still do it. Keep doing it. And don't expect anything. Then it will calm down. And if we slip, in spite of one's own lapses, the yoga practitioner is led onward by the strength of his or her former practices. Even a person who simply wants to know how to practice yoga sees more clearly than those merely going through the prescribed motions of life. Whatever you do, however small or big, it always is of benefit, and it will help us to at least become more clear than we were before. So if you're curious to try some meditation, try this one. It's my daily practice and the one we follow at the end of our yoga sessions, in the morning and evening. In the morning, the meditation is about balancing the digestive fire, the Agni. It has two parts. So balancing the Agni so that we can digest whatever comes in through the senses, that our mind can digest that our body can digest the food. So these two parts, the mind needs to digest the input through the senses, and the body needs to digest the input through the food. And the second part of the morning meditation is for us to ask and to wish that everyone becomes happy and everyone has their wishes fulfilled, because when people are content and when their wishes come through, they become happy, they become content, and they are more peaceful. And the evening meditation is about balancing the energies of the day so that everything settles before we go to sleep. And my teacher, Sri Balaji Tambi, has refined this meditation over decades. He was always looking for something that was sure to fit into our life, but was very powerful at the same time. So it fits into our busy modern lives, and it takes minutes to sit. And you can listen it on Spotify, and I'll put the link into the show notes. So thank you for being here today. May your practice bring you calm and clarity and contentment. See you again next week.